Welcome to the Hockey Huddle, the ultimate podcast for hockey fans by hockey fans, where we break down the latest on and off ice from power plays to game-changing trades. Whether you're a diehard fan or new to the sport, we've got all the action, analysis, and hot takes you'll need to stay in the game. We'll bring you exclusive interviews with other fans, weekly breakdowns, and everything you need to know from the NHL and beyond. So lace up your skates, grab your stick, and let's drop the puck on today's episode of the Hockey Huddle. Hey, episode 15 of the Hockey Huddle. We are very excited to talk to you guys. This is a very, very important episode, maybe one for the ages, Jay. And you and I were just talking, and we need to hit record in this conversation because let's talk about how much you hate Brady Tkachuk.
Oh my God, you know what? I think that Brady Tkachuk and his brother and his father, possibly the mother, that's how deep the hate goes. And any siblings, if they have pets too, you know, these people are all in trouble. Like, for someone who wants to go in there and be, you know, thrown in someone's side and push around and push buttons, stuff like that, I'm okay with that. But if you go and start punching people in the face at the end of every play and don't get called on it, and then when someone goes to fight you about it, you turtle like a puss, come on, Brady. Like, you know what? The biggest pussy out there is Brady Tkachuk, and this guy keeps going in, punching people's faces. The refs need to stop this right away, and if not, someone's going to kick his ass. And I'll tell you what, somebody in print yesterday, you know what, I really wish the Leafs would have signed this guy from the Costco parking lots, Arbor Jack guy. He went off. He said, I can't wait till Brady Tkachuk, because the first game was Ottawa versus Montreal. He goes, bring him to me. Bring him to me. And he said he was going to kick his ass for what he did and what he stood for in hockey, and it was brutal. And dude, I was so happy that this guy said that, because someone needs to kick the living shit out of these two guys. Shut their mouths up. And Marchand was so good. He goes, I guess you shouldn't start bragging before the end of the series there, eh, bud? So good. Those guys.
Yeah, you know what? What a beauty statement, and I cannot get behind anything Montreal Canadiens, Jay. Like, I think you and I probably both feel the same way about Montreal and Ottawa and Boston, but good on him. Like, I'm not rooting for Montreal, but go get him. I think that's a great
I was waiting. I was going to watch that game last night just to see Arbor go in there and just take care of business, right, with this guy. And guess who never showed up? Guess who didn't play?
Guess who, number 7 for the odd?
Yeah, come on. Dude didn't show up. Oh, his back was hurt. What? From a stage fight that him and his brother and JT Miller, who JT Miller was pissed at those guys for sharing their private conversations, and rightfully so. And
buddy, you know what this reminds me of? Do you remember the New Orleans Saints and the controversy about their bounties and all that stuff?
Yeah. And what's the name of the coach?
Like.
Oh yeah, and the coach got suspended for a year.
And the fines and they found for sure like this is bounties on players, but without being written on a whiteboard. It's today's technology of I send you a text message, we're going to start something, and who knows what happened in the background. Oh, buddy, like there's NHL needs to look into that. That is some dirty like. Oh, for sure. Buddy.
Stage fights and you got to look at let's look at the fight. So you get Matthew who goes against Hagel. What? Hagel? Hagel's a $181, soaking wet, around the same height, slightly smaller, but he's a little guy. But he kicked Matthew Tkachuk's ass, threw him on the ground, wrestled him, and I'm like, attaboy, stood up for himself, and he said, I'm not backing down from this bully, and he didn't. It was so good. Love that. Love that.
That was... So let's jump into Six Nations, or Four Nations. I said Six Nations. I previewed a talking point that we have today. Let's jump into Four Nations Cup, man, and the Team USA Canada games, Saturday's game. And I've talked to a lot of people about this. That Saturday game, Team Canada versus USA, may be one of the greatest hockey games of all time.
It was so. I agree.
And I don't know that I've ever seen a greater hockey game. Like I've seen some really, really great games, but man, like that was something else. Wow.
You know what? I'm not against the fights that they had at the beginning of the game that actually jacked everybody up and stuff like that. And I'm okay that people go out and they do have fights and stuff like that. I'm not against hockey fighting. I actually like it. Gets me angry and fired up, right? The way I look at it is when people pick on people who are not their size, or they go in like they're going to... Yeah, you know, classless. They go in the start fight and then they don't. They just punch people in the face. And then when someone steps up and then they go, no, I'm okay. That's the part I don't like. If you're going to go up and you're going to fight, great. The fact that these three guys staged it, what a coup. Awesome. Great fight. And, you know, JT Miller, as much as we've been on this guy for being a bit of a douche throughout. He went up against Parenko, and Parenko ragdolled him, and he just kept his head down swinging. Like, good for you, JT Miller, for stepping in.
I love what Parenko did, and so you know that JT Miller, when they're drawing straws about who's getting the big guy or who's gonna be in this third fight, and Miller was like, ah, shit, I got this one, and I'm just gonna tuck my chin and hope I don't die on the ice as I get my just pummeled into the underneath the ice.
But when he went in, he didn't go after Parenko. He was going after Morrissey. I think it was Morrissey, like someone small, right? And another.
Morrissey, right. Parenko was like, I see what's going on here. I'm having none of this.
Exactly.
And what are you doing going after Morrissey? Like, has Morrissey ever had a fight in the NHL ever?
No.
Or in the minors?
Neither's Hagel. No,
obviously not. But you know what? In true Canadian fashion, the Canadian boys stepped up and said, fuck you, USA.
Exactly.
And eat my knuckles.
Exactly.
And off you go with your tail between your legs.
Yep.
So, the end of the game didn't end the right way for that game, but I think it did end the right way. And if we draw comparisons back to 2010 Olympics and Team Canada played Team USA and they lost in that first game, I'll tell you, man, like, that is exciting hockey. It was fun to watch. It was back and forth. There was, like, that first period was a great first period. And then you saw really, really good structured hockey on the backside of that. So you saw a defensive shutdown like no other. And I am not going to pump the tires for Team USA, but Brock Faber, man, like, if this guy is not an up-and-coming, if he's not the next up-and-coming defenseman or defensive defenseman, I don't know who he is. But this guy, man, again, not pro Team USA, Brock Faber was good. Like among the best in the world, he was very, very good.
I was very impressed with all the defensemen on both those teams for both those games. I was looking at even Drew Doughty. I'm like, my God, but he's so mindful. He comes up, takes a look around, and just gets that puck out every time, right? And he eats boards. He doesn't care, right? I was like, okay, pretty good. But I think a big thing that kind of hurt the U.S. in that final game, and I'm glad that it happened. My son calls Charlie McAvoy Charlie McCovey. McCovey not being there, man. This guy is full of piss and vinegar. In the right way, and he's a jerk, and he's a hard hitter. He was not in the lineup. And did you know that the U.S. didn't address Kyle Connor that last game either? Dude just scores goals. That's what he does. He wasn't even in the game. I'm like, what are you guys doing, right? Like, but
are we talking about all the Winnipeg Jets that were in that lineup, by the way? Like, good Winnipeg Jets that are going to go back, and they're going to be, like, in playoff mode. Like, that's trouble for a lot of teams in the West.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that I wouldn't have looked at the way, like, so Tampa had some good guys. At first, I was like, the Tampa line. What, like, come on, who's the coach? Makes sense, right? John Cooper. So, I mean, there's probably 2 or 3 of those guys that could have been subbed out, but I wasn't against it. Like, man, we got so much to talk about this. I don't know. Do you want to go team by team? You want to go game by game? How do you want to do this? Or just want to just go with the Four Nations?
So I want to talk about, so you mentioned John Cooper. So let's talk about John Cooper first. John Cooper said something in the post-game interview, and I'm hoping that we can get a picture of it over here somewhere, and a quote on here, or some of his quotes. So he said that his quotes were, I'm paraphrasing, the Team Canada did not play for themselves. They played for Canada. They played for 40 million Canadians, and they were proud to play for Canada. And I thought, what an amazing quote from John Cooper, and what a great insight into the team. And I'm getting goosebumps talking about this, man. Like, what an exciting thing to hear that those guys also feel that political pressure that we're feeling here at home. And we're hearing all the bullshit that's coming out of the U.S. and Washington, D.C. specifically. I don't want to politicize this podcast, but I'm sure 99% of the people out there are kind of feeling the same way. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, exactly.
But I'll tell you, man, his quote, buddy, goosebumps now, goosebumps then. Awesome to hear that Team Canada was playing for Canadians and they were feeling like what we were feeling. So let's talk about who is the best player on Team Canada over the course of the tournament? Because I need to walk a statement backwards that I made in a previous podcast.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, I usually kind of do it by position kind of thing. And I've seen this one player play all the time, and I'm like, he's pretty good, but I've never really focused on him. I don't know why I haven't, but I should have. Nathan McKinnon is fast as McDavid, but with hands. Like, this guy, holy jump. And like, I'm like, what? How did he get there? Right? He is so fast. And then you put him with Cale Makar. He's just as fast, but his lateral movements are ridiculous. So, and then I'll go ahead. Sorry.
Let's go to McKinnon for a second, because McKinnon looked like the best player on the ice amongst the best players on the ice. Like, he stood out among the best. buddy, he was like, this guy is next. He is unreal. This guy
next level.
is the next level. Like, if there is like that, there's that tier where you've got guys like Matthews and McDavid and like those guys. McKinnon, he's a tier above. After seeing this tournament, buddy, that guy, and you said it, as fast in his like slow to fast, like his medium speed to full speed, and then with hands, like the guy does what he wants with the puck. It's like he's a like AI. He's like a robot. Like,
yeah, it's fake.
Playing a video game. He's a video game. That's what he is.
Yeah. Good call. No, I agree with you, buddy. Because McDavid's just as fast, but I find that McDavid gets up there and then it's almost like his legs are going, and we've said this before, his legs go faster than his brain is going. McKinnon, it matches. Legs are fast and hands are fast. And like, wow. Don't get me wrong. McDavid is unreal. He is, for sure. I agree. Super, super fast. Wow.
And I kind of think, and we were talking about this beforehand, it kind of feels like that game, a torch got passed. And it went from Sid to McDavid. And it felt like that. It felt like, and I remember, I was by myself. I'm on the couch downstairs. I'm watching the game on the big TV, and I'm watching, so that, Makar keeps the puck in, flushes around the board to Marner, and I started getting off the couch. And I was like,
you knew, you could see it. Oh, yeah, you could feel it.
And I'm getting up, and you see Matthews, Austin Matthews. Oh my God.
We can talk about that too.
You see Matthews bail on his assignment and go after Marner, and who did you leave open in the slot but Connor McDavid? Connor fucking McJesus in the slot. And what does Marner do? Marner does what Marner does, and he puts a puck in, like, on his tape, right in the right spot. McDavid scores. I was already off the couch when this was happening, like, and everybody's sleeping at the house, so I'm like silently screaming my face off without the noise.
Well, dude, like, I'm telling you,
and the torch right there.
It was torch for the win. And you know what? The thing that surprised me was that he shot it, and it was a good shot. Like, he's not known for having a great shot, but that was wow. Like, pressure, great shot, great spot. I think he had two spots he could have shot at, and they were both difficult because the goalie was coming out playing the angle. What a great shot. Pass shot. Unbelievable.
I've seen him in that position take that shot before, and he often opts to go blocker side on on a left-handed catching goalie. Yeah. So instead of going to glove side where goalies tend to be pretty strong, he typically goes blocker side. And this one, he just went glove side, and it was the right choice. And he top cheese, boom, goal.
Beautiful.
And I'll tell you, I love to see Connor Hellebuck look like this, like upset.
Every time. Love it.
Obviously, if you're listening to this, you can't see the expression on my face, which is complete disappointment and shock.
Yes.
Man. And that torch getting passed. Now, everybody saw the goal. Amazing goal.
Yes.
So much fun. The party started. The Canadians and the fans were going crazy. You mentioned Cale Makar.
Yes.
Wow. Cale Makar is not a defenseman.
Well, what would you call him then? He's not a defenseman.
He's not a forward.
Goalie. He's not a forward. So, what would you call him?
I would call him a forwardsman. A forceman.
A forefenceman?
A forefenceman.
Forefenceman.
Midfield. A forefenceman. He is.
Dude, I agree.
There's a position there that he's playing. That
the
is
rover.
Not currently. It's the midfielder. It's the slot back, the edge rusher. It's that, like, the created position for that really, really good guy who's in that hybrid role. Because not only is he a great defenseman, because he gets back on plays and he jumps up in the offense, but he's back on defense. There is something there where there's a new position in the NHL for that guy. And, Morgan Riley is also that guy. Morgan Riley could be a forward. Yes. But he's not. He's the defensive forward. What do we call him?
I think
a forward.
Forefenceman.
A forefenceman.
The forefenceman. I agree. Riley should be a forefenceman too. And if for those people that were keeping track at home, just so you know, Makar took 7 punches to the face from Brady to Chuck in that last game. And all he did was laugh. All he did was laugh. And Brady Chuck just punched him in the face. And the ref's going, yeah, why don't you just punch Cale Makar in the face? Again, buddy. Come on.
Brady Tkachuk is a weenie.
Totally weenie. I agree. And so we talked about a little bit about those forefencemen, Cale Makar, McDavid, obviously, McKinnon. Who was somebody else you were going to talk about? You said that you needed to come back and say, I was wrong.
Got to walk back on this one. So when we were talking initially about the Four Nations and who was in net and who the goalie was going to be, and we were talking about Montalban and Aiden Hill and Jordan Binnington, and I'm like, oh God, like who is it and how does that look? And who could the goalie be? And we're like, oh my God, like we're not tier 1 goalies here. Like we're talking about tier 2 goalie, good goalies, but like tier 2, not the, not the Vasilevskis and the Ottingers and Hellebucks. And Jordan Binnington won that game for Team Canada.
Oh yeah.
He won the championship winning game. That guy, unreal. And the back half of that third period into the overtime, that standing on his head is not the right, like that's not the right description for what he did. He didn't just stand on his head. He stood on his head and he went post to post and saved pucks. He was sharp. And you could see the mojo building with this guy as the plays were getting better and he was getting stronger. And I'll tell you, man, shame on me for not seeing what he was or what he could have done, buddy. That was an elite performance.
I know exactly what you're saying. It's funny because even people that don't know hockey, and I'll throw some of my friends under the bus. We have about 8 people to watch, and then a lot of times when people don't know a lot about hockey, they'll just spit out or regurgitate whatever they've heard on the news or online or whatever. And they're like, well, Jordan Binnington is no good, so we're going to lose. He's the Achilles heel of Team Canada. And they're going on. I go, Teresa, you don't even know who he is. She's like, but, right? I mean, everybody's saying it. I'm just picking on Teresa because hers was the first name that came to mind. But
yeah,
everybody's
Teresa.
saying it. Yeah, Teresa. And so we were like, I'm like, listen, this guy won the Stanley Cup in 2019 in St. Louis in Game 7. Where? The Boston Gardens. And where did he win that last game for Four Nations for Canada versus U.S.? In the Boston Gardens.
I'm not calling it the other name, by the way. It is the Boston Gardens.
It's Boston Gardens. And so, like, one thing about Binnington, who he kind of reminded me of more of a modern-day AI version of Hasek, because he made some really weird saves that you wouldn't have, like, he played far out to the right because he knew the guy was coming up, and he did, and he kind of poke-checked him, and he stopped it with his glove at the same time. And normally the goalie would be back in his net, and dude would have had a shot to the top left-hand corner. But I'm like, what is this guy doing? And then I'm like, well, okay. Like, he wasn't being predictable. He was playing angles, but then he was challenging too at the same time. And everybody knows this guy's got a hot head. And they went after him and after him. Like, I think he got hit, like, I think it was 6 times over the 2 games, but run into enough that they were trying to piss him off. He was unflappable. So, Mr. Jordan Binnington, thank you for doing what you did. And you know what? You were the best goalie in that tournament. People were saying that first goal against USA, what's his name? Number 59 for Tampa Bay. Yeah, thank you, Jake Gensel. But we're fans of Jake Gensel, though. But
we are fans of Jake Gensel. We are.
Yeah, thanks, Jake. But it was a great shot between his legs. Everybody's like, oh, he should have had that. I go, dude, they're professional hockey players. He aimed. As soon as he saw the separation of the legs, he shot between the legs. It wasn't an easy goal. It was a great shot. Sometimes they're great shots.
It's the Matthews.
It's the Matthews go-to. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I think you said it so well there, man. So Jordan Binnington, thank you so much. Like, in all the factors that came together that happened in the team, and like all the effort and all that grit all came together. But really, I think and Nate got the MVP. Okay, yes. I get it.
Yes,
100% get that. But I think the second consideration and maybe a 1 and 1A.
Yeah,
Jordan Binnington.
I agree, because without him, we wouldn't have won. Right. So that's the thing. That's the separator. Right. So with both those guys, without those 2 guys, we wouldn't have won. And
I agree.
If you look at the weirdest thing, so I was expecting a lot more offense in this tournament, Rick, to be honest with you. And it was much more a structured game. They were playing to win, right? So it wasn't a run and gun kind of all-star game kind of setup. These guys were going to win. They were going to eat pucks. They were going to do whatever it took to win. So it was almost too structured. I was hoping like 7-6 games, but it wasn't that way. In the U.S., they played dump and chase, and they just played scrum hockey. You know what I mean? Like, they have some very, very talented guys, and most of their goals were off the scrum in front of the net. It wasn't like breakaway, tic-tac-toe, great passing, which what happened with Canada when John Cooper finally pulled his head out of his ass and said, maybe Mitch Marner shouldn't be on the third line. Let's put him on the top line. Oh, the guy that scored the game-winning goal in overtime against Sweden, that guy? Yeah. We should put him back out with Connor McDavid, because Connor McDavid needs someone with hands and with imagination to set him up. Maybe for the game-winning goal, perhaps. I don't know. And
maybe
guess
the
what
guy
happened?
who's got the most 5-on-5 assists in the league this year, maybe the guy who's second in assists this year should be playing with arguably one of the best hockey players ever to put skates on.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. And I think it finally came to him. I think he took a puck to the head on the bench. Just kidding, John Cooper. But he finally figured it out. He goes, listen, we're changing this up. And he did. And thank God he did. Because, wow, what a great pass. What a great shot. And again, like you said, McCarr carried in. Unbelievable. We can go on and on. I mean,
beautiful.
I think
I could rave about this we could have a 5-hour podcast talking about just this one game.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Unbelievable.
Let's switch gears just slightly. Let's turn the dial just a little bit. Were there any noticeable absences from the roster that you thought this player should have been on Team Canada in this spot?
Yes.
So
I can think of
back.
Yeah, for sure. You possibly, man, there's 4 players that should have been on the team, and there's other guys that shouldn't be there for sure. So as much as I hate to say it, but Scheifele should have been on that team.
Yeah.
Seth Jarvis. Seth Jarvis was out front of the net, and it was kind of one of when a kid's got a stick and he doesn't have all the power on the stick, like 2 hands on the stick. There was like 2 times where he was in front of the net where if he would have batted a little harder, he could have got to the puck and put it in. I'm not saying anything bad about Seth Jarvis. He just wasn't that guy, and I know kind of why they brought him in there, but listen, Scheifele would have been a much better player to take that spot. And you know what? Our face-offs kind of suffered. John Tavares, man, why was this guy not on that team? He's going to be on your fourth line as a penalty killer, not a penalty killer, but face-off specialist, setup guy. And then who else?
100% agree.
Uyghur should have been on the team. You know what I mean? But I'm the defenseman, like Shea Theodore. I mean, he was knocked out early, but Uyghur or Theodore, what are you talking about? What is going? Did someone lose a bet? Is that why Theodore was on that team? Like, come on. Unbelievable. Theodore. And, of course, Tanev from the Leafs. You know, I mean, if they're playing that brand of hockey, they're playing to win and block and stuff like that. Tanev should have been in Drew Doughty's spot, really. He's a modern-day Drew Doughty, better with the puck out, faster with the puck, faster skater, blocks more pucks. You know what I mean?
Bigger body.
Yeah.
So what you may not notice, if you're not a Leafs fan, what you may not notice about Tanev is how fast he really is. And he's a big dude and he's a bit older, and he is a very fast skater, and it is surprisingly fast, by the way. So if you're not a Leafs fan and you haven't seen Chris Tanev go,
check it out.
Check it out. He's got some wheels.
His salad slows him down a little bit when he's skating. So I understand the wind draw back on that, but other than that, he's super
battery dynamic. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Let me throw a name out. So I'll tell you one thing to throw a name out there. So Calgary versus San. So it's Sunday when we're recording today. Sunday the 23rd. Calgary's playing San Jose in Calgary. I'm gonna go see Macklin Celebrini play. Does Macklin Celebrini make your team?
You know what? This year, potential again over Seth Jarvis. Yes, I would put the kid out there, get him some ice time, get him kind of going on, learning what's going on in these tournaments, to learn from these other Canadian players. He's definitely on my team for the Olympics, for sure, 100%. Oh, yeah, 2026 Olympics.
Right, and we've seen what the hockey is going to be like, right? So we know what 2026 should look like. Yeah. What about another guy from Chicago, Connor Bedard?
Again, those 2 guys could have been on your fourth line, man, and you could have put, say, I don't know, John Tavares in the center. You could have a veteran presence there in that, I think. Yeah, there's some
like Tavares plays with Marner. Marner and Tavares play so well together. Yeah, that is a foreshadowing of how well somebody like Celebrini or Bedard could play with Tavares.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Bergeron, I think there's some players that need more ice time to kind of get going what's happening. Like Bergeron, I didn't hate his game at all. He was playing 9 minutes a night. Like, it was almost a bit of a waste. And I now know what other probably players feel like when we roll out the Leaf 5-man power play. How is Mitch Marner never on a power play for the entire 4 Nations series? Like, he wasn't even on there. The setup genius of this guy. Unbelievable. He didn't even touch the puck.
Do you include Marchand in your lineup for 26?
No. I like him. Where I would definitely have him as a coach, an assistant coach, or a coach on the team somewhere in there, because he's a smart player. He's really, really smart. And he's that sarcastic guy that says something, walks away, and you're like, did this guy just burn me? And I didn't realize it. And you realize it like 3 minutes later, right? And then you start laughing because what he said was actually really funny. And you're like, okay, good for you. But he's smart, eh? I like him, man. Somewhere he should be a part of Team Canada. I think he's going to retire after this year, potentially.
I think you're right, yeah. And see, I would have had Scheifele in the lineup 100%, my number one. Yeah. Like, he was missing from the lineup and needed to be there. I definitely would have had Mark Stone off the team. So I don't think Mark Stone.
Yeah, what was he doing there? I think we owed Vegas something, buddy, because Shea Theodore, Mark Stone, like what's going on with these guys, right?
Yeah, future considerations equated to a spot on a roster somewhere on a trade somewhere.
Right.
I also have, so Mackenzie Weegar is definitely on my team, and I've been advocating for Mackenzie Weegar and in Drew Doughty's place. So Doughty,
Yes.
or the thing is that as much as I looked at Canada's defense and thought, hey, it's good D, it's definitely going to be a positive. I think that D was a bit better than I thought it was going to be. Like, I think the way, like, if you look at, what's his name, 48 Hanley.
Oh, wow. Where did this guy come from, right?
Where did this guy come from? He was so good. And I would not have taken him off the team. I would have, like, he's on my team 100%.
Yeah. Sandheim looked good too. I was like, what?
Sandheim looked great.
I didn't think, like, when they picked him, I'm like, what are you talking about? But wow.
Parenko and Morrissey together, buddy.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh. How good did Parenko and Morrissey look together?
They look great together, bud. Oh. Really, really great. Makar's partner from Colorado there, and Taze.
Devon Taze.
You know what I mean? He looked good too. Like, even looked good without Makar. And I was like, okay, because I thought, sometimes they bring somebody up because they work well together as a team or a tandem kind of thing. So I thought originally that's why they brought him up. And when he was playing not with Makar, he still stood out. I was like, okay, I'm happy with the defense. I agree, buddy. But yeah.
But yeah, and you're also going to be able to bring more players to the Olympics, right? So you're going to have a couple guys in the press box. So for me, it's like there's a couple of guys that get added to that team. Celebrini, Bedard, and Weegar, and Scheifele, I think have to be on that team. Stone's got to come off. Jarvis has to come off.
Yeah.
I think that's how that looks. Marchand's coming out. So I think that's kind of what that looks like for 26, but it's a nice preview to see what the Olympics are going to look like. And we're going to see a best on best. And I think the Four Nations was really great as a best on best, but there's two glaring misses in the Four Nations Cup. And that is you don't have Alexander Ovechkin in that tournament.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have Stützle in the tournament. You don't have Draisaitl in that tournament.
Yeah.
Like, there needs to be a Team Russia. There needs to be a Team Europe, a Czechia.
I agree.
Something like that.
I agree. I was going to say the same thing. They should have like a Team Russia, so you can have Germany in there, Czechia, all the different nations that are out there. Like, why not do that? So I agree with it. And as much as what's going on with Russia and Ukraine and all that stuff, why are their hockey players being punished for what their nation's doing, where their nation's leaders are making these decisions? I understand internationally or whatever kind of thing. This was in North America, man. This was, all the guys would have probably been played almost from North America anyways. Why are they being held accountable for what they're doing? Is anything that they can do turn around what was happening there? No. Are they backing up what's happening there? I don't think so. Nobody stepped out and said anything about Putin or anything that I'm aware of. So why are we holding these guys hostage for this, right?
Right. I think one of the things that, like, geopolitically, obviously there's a lot of drama going on. And Russia obviously has not been, like, ethically above board when it comes to the Olympics in many, many years. Like, how many Russians have been tested positive for doping and drugs and steroids? There you go. Did Rasputin? What? All right. I think you know somebody in your life who might be Russian.
I do. Just to wrap. I was going to say, you want to wrap the Four Nations, Six Nations kind of thing? Because
I do, because I have one more thing about the Four Nations.
I have like 17. I have 17, but I'll just say the one. So the one thing you alluded to earlier and we didn't go to was John Cooper. And he came out with a new NHL playoff commercial. And they asked him what he was drinking from the cup that they won the Four Nations Cup. And he said, Canadian. I'm drinking Canadian. So was he talking about Canadian Spirit or the beer? Either one is a winner, right? Yeah, he did really, really well. He's another really, really smart person who knows how to play the audience, his team, people. He's a lawyer too, right? So obviously he hypnotizes people. There's a lot of great things that Mr. Cooper has done. And I've, hated him because how he's punished our Maple Leafs in the playoffs over the years. But good on you, Mr. Cooper. Great job, buddy. Sorry, go ahead. And what's your wrap?
So my wrap is I have always held a couple of hockey players in very high esteem, and they've been on that mantle of hockey excellence and advocates for the game and people who represent the game of hockey so well, and they are hockey to so many people. And if you're not a hockey fan, you know some of these names. And one of those names is Wayne Gretzky. As a I don't know, Canadian, as a true red and white Canadian, as a guy who loves his country and a guy who loves hockey. Fuck you, Wayne Gretzky. Fuck you. You have disappointed Canadian. You wore the Team Canada jersey with the C on your jersey. Wore the jersey. You're from Brantford, Ontario, and to know the geopolitical landscape right now between USA and Canada, and who you were and who you represented and everything that you stood for hockey, fuck you. That's my message to Wayne Gretzky right now. I hate every piece of what he did. He didn't come out wearing the jersey, came out of the American locker room. I got no time for this guy. Get him off TNT.
He pointed at the American bench, walking down, pointing at him like, yeah, go guys, go guys. I'm like, did you bang your head, dude? Like, I know you went to LA for a little bit, St. Louis, the Rangers, you're Canadian. What are you doing out there? And I heard this. I don't know if it's 100% true or whatever, but apparently he has some stake or name rights of different companies throughout North America. And he is taking a beating in Canada for sure. So there's a lot of teams or a lot of people that may not be very angry with this individual and leaving nasty, not even nasty messages, but just over the top about this gentleman, like hundreds of calls going into places, just talking about what he's done and what he stood for. He's made a lot of Canadians who were the I'm sorry people, I'm sorry, very, very angry. Wow. Like some of the stuff that I heard was unbelievable. Something about him and the Orange Man should get together and go for a walk up a short pier was the nicest way to say that. Or sex and traveling, go yourself, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I am disgusted. I think disgusted is probably the word I could use best because I can't think of a stronger word to describe this feeling about Wayne Gretzky. Just disgusted. Like what an absolute clown. Like get him. So he hosts the TNT broadcast. Kick him off the broadcast.
Yeah.
Or you know what? If you're going to be like that, put the American flag on yourself.
Yeah.
Let's renounce all your records as a Canadian. Like this guy, just a complete ass clown. And I was not rooting for Alex Ovechkin to beat his record. Not rooting for it at all. I wanted it. Like I wanted Gretzky to hold that record. Not anymore. Let's go, Ovechkin. I want to see him beat that record and thump it. I want to see him play another season and make that record untouchable. Man, I have got no more time for this guy. And the esteem and the echelon that he was, the esteem that I held this guy in is gone. Like he is just now with the mold in the corner of the rink. What a disgusting human being and what a disgusting Canadian. I don't even know if he's a Canadian anymore.
Yeah, no, whatever. I agree with you. But it's crazy about the bad decisions that smart people make sometimes in their life. And whoever's been in his ear and talking to him and saying whatever, it's bad advice, Wayne, seriously, give your head a shake, figure out what's going on. And I don't understand while you're on that guy's team and the decisions that bully is making for their nation. I understand he's trying to stand up and do whatever he can for it, but come on, buddy, don't tie your horse to that pole. That's just stupid, right? So another kind of quick segue, a guy who I thought was a good person overall, totally not in sports at all, and did a great job, I thought was a really, really amazing actor, Will Smith. Then he comes out and he slaps Chris Rock in the face for a joke that this guy did about his wife, who Will Smith, I don't even believe is with anymore. Like, what a dumb move. And he's removed himself from all these great things because of all this. And Will Smith this year tried to sneak into the music awards so he can talk in there, but he can't talk in the actors. So again, Wayne Gretzky and Will Smith should get together and go bowling because dumb ass moves. Dumb.
Well said. Let's change the channel because I'm good and pissed about this. Let's talk about something I'm pretty happy about, and that is the return of the Toronto Maple Leafs last night. The Leafs played the Hurricanes last night, and they came out running, man. They came out with a hot 4-0 start, and I love how JT, my best friend, obviously, my best friend, we were talking about it. Hey, come out and make a statement, buddy. He came out and made a statement last night, goal and an assist, and he looked good. And an exciting moment for a young gentleman named Alex Steeves. So,
yes.
That's a big deal.
Number 46, but one in your heart.
Now, do you know how many other players scored a goal on their very first shift in the NHL?
7.
I probably should have counted this before I asked you because it's not 7. 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 22. I'm going to say 25. About 20, yeah.
Okay.
25.
Really? It's that high. Okay.
So I'll give you a couple notable names. Ever heard of Mario Lemieux?
I've heard of that guy. Number 66.
Yeah. Luc Robitaille, Rob Ray.
Number 20, Robitaille.
I'm going to save one right for the end. Jake Gensel. Hockey Huddle
number
superfan
59.
Jake Gensel,
Love
scored
Jake
on his
Gensel.
first shift. Alex McGillney scored on his
Number
first shift.
89, also a Leaf.
And a family member of mine.
Oh, Hunter?
So, yes, one of the Hunters. So I am related to Dale, Dave, and Mark Hunter through my uncle. It's not a blood relation, even though we have the same last name. It's not a blood relation. That's a marriage relation. But Mark Hunter on October 8th, 1981, for the Montreal Canadiens, he scored his first goal on his first shift.
Nice.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
many years ago. That's 43 years ago.
Wow.
For Mark Hunter. I think it's the same Mark Hunter that also drafted Mitch Marner in the draft.
Smart man.
Yeah, that's right. Smart guy. Anyways, so not a lot of guys have done it. And so he's in good company. There's also some weird, I don't want to compare you to these names in here. So, there's a couple. Oh, Kucherov also did it. I didn't notice that name as I was on the list.
There you go.
Alexei Morozov. Who?
He played for either San Jose, I think. San Jose Sharks.
This was with Pittsburgh, so his first game was with Pittsburgh. Rick Ripien, who was a tough guy.
Oh, yeah, for Calgary. Didn't he play Calgary, too? Calgary,
yeah,
St. Louis.
Vancouver as well.
Vancouver.
Eddie Beers in 1982 did it the same year Mark Hunter did.
What a great name.
Velarde.
Was that when he was with LA or?
Yeah, LA Kings. And the oldest one I could find, so I'm guessing that this is, the records may not have been kept in this way before this, but in 1943, on the 30th of October, Gus Bodnar with your Toronto Maple Leafs. Woo woo, what's up?
On what date was that?
October 30th, 1943.
What a great day October 30th is for some reason.
What a great day. Yes, I wonder why October 30th. I didn't even connect those dots when I was looking at this list. I'm guessing that's somebody's birthday.
It is my birthday. Not 43, though.
No, not 43.
Okay.
27.
Obviously.
So at least looked good coming out of the gates last night. So they won 6-3. Matthews got an empty netter. I think Holmberg got 2. So Holmberg may have had an empty netter. I didn't see the very back end of that game last night. But
David Kampf had a goal too. David Kampf had a goal. Yeah.
I still want to trade him, by the way. Kampf, Croc.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Okay.
I've had enough of you.
It's funny because the 4 guys we want to trade, nobody else wants either, right? It's sort of like we've got these great guys. We've got David Kampf, Kyle Yarncroc. We've got Nick Robertson, who's up and down, and Timmins, who I like, but now they're putting him out there because Philip Myers or whatever's kind of out there. So, and we're like, does anybody want these? And everybody's like, no, we don't want any of them either. Weird.
We'll trade you for anything. We need more tape.
We need more tape.
We need more tape. Anyways, look, it's exciting to see them come out of the gates like that. And against Carolina, who's Carolina has a similar record and similar position in the standings. Toronto should, if Toronto's going to make a run and they're going to, they've got to get through teams like Carolina. They got to get through teams like Florida. They've got to get through teams like, the Dallases and they've got
Oilers,
to get through
Tampa Bay, Vegas, Washington,
and
Winnipeg. What's going on with those guys?
What's going on with Winnipeg?
I don't know. We have looked good. You're right, against the upper echelon of teams. We definitely have. It's been the team
against San Jose,
Columbus,
and Chicago. Yeah, Columbus.
We played tonight. I don't know. They shouldn't be where they are. It's crazy. But yeah, so the Leafs were definitely looking for secondary scoring. Got it. Check. And they were also, everybody's going about, well, our defensemen really aren't scoring goals this year, and we're third last in goal scoring for defensemen. But last time I checked, that's the forward's job to score goals. Guess what we're number 1 in? Goals by forwards.
A forwardsman?
Forfenseman.
If
you're a forfenseman.
A forfenseman.
Yeah, forfenseman for sure. And we'll figure it out. You know who else could have been a forfenseman is Jake Gardner.
Oh, yeah.
The Leafs back in the day, right? Number 51? He could have been a forfenseman for sure.
What about Thomas Caberlet?
Smooth skater. He could stick handle in a phone booth. He was never, the thing with Caberlet, number 15. He never looked under pressure. You know what I mean? Even though there was pressure.
Was he 15 in Boston or 12 in Boston?
I think he went to 12 in Boston. I think you're right.
12 in Boston, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, what a great defenseman. What was he picked in the 7th round or something crazy like that, or 5th or 7th round, something. And him and McCabe. McCabe, actually, he was born in St. Catharines, Brian McCabe. But
he speaks about it. He did an interview recently, and he talked about growing up in St. Catharines and playing in Niagara and Welland and stuff like that.
Yeah. He's awesome.
Speaking of cabaret, so do you know that when teams were kind of figuring out the new power play way, so the Leafs labeled their initial move in the power play was called the cabaret carry-in.
Really? No, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That was like the start of this new look, where they, your defenseman moves the puck, then you pass backwards to the forwards. But that move was called the cabaret carry-in. Anyways, I digress.
Love it.
I was looking at the standings. I'm excited to see the back half of the year. So we've got about 34, 35-ish games left in the season, depending on what team you are. I think there's a couple teams like Tampa's only played 55 games, and the Islanders only played 55.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think we're like 2 games behind Florida. We're 6th overall in the league. I think 6th or 7th overall in the league, but with 2 games, we win both of them, we're 3rd. You know what I mean? So it's very close. There's a separation. I think we've got like 70 or 72 points, somewhere in that area. I think Winnipeg and, oh my God, Washington have like 80 and 82.
83
somewhere
and
8, in that
83. Yeah, 83 for Winnipeg, played 57 games. Washington has played 1 less game at 82. Dallas is next at quite a difference away. So Dallas and Vegas. Yeah, Dallas and Vegas both have 74 points. You got Edmonton and Minnesota at 72, Florida 70, Toronto 70, Carolina 70.
Yeah. So it's tightening up there, but yeah, there's a bit of it.
It is. Yeah.
But I'm still surprised at Washington and Winnipeg. Actually, anything beginning with a W that is still up there. I had no idea. I almost picked both these guys to miss the playoffs, and they're like number 1 and 2, right? Like
Washington for sure. Like, who would have thought Washington, right? Like, man, they've just been going.
Yeah. What's his name? Carver. What's the coach's name again? He was a coach for the Leafs too, for a cup of coffee there. I like his haircut.
Brian.
Not Brian.
Gump Borsley.
Okay, Gump Borsley. Gump Borsley as coach of the Washington. He's got them playing a system, and they're all playing evenly. And if you look at the lines, like 1, 2, 3, and 4,
who the hell's the coach of the Washingtons? Why can I not?
Carver something. You have to look it up. I can't remember. It escapes me right now, the name. But so what happens is lines 1, 2, 3, and 4, usually the disparity of time played from the first line playing 22 minutes to the fourth line playing 8 minutes, there's not that much of a gap, right? So the top line is playing 17 minutes and the fourth line is playing like 13 minutes. So I think the division of time spent on the ice is much better. He spread out everything throughout because you had one guy really that was great, right? And it's a good tan too.
Spencer Carberry. The guy's got
there you go, Spencer Carberry. We were close. Carberry something. He's 43 years old. Nationality? Canadian. Yep, obviously.
You know, I want to stay with your point. I just, do you know what percentage of names in the Stanley Cup are Canadian, by the way? 55. 55.06% of the names are Canadian. Anyways, back to your point.
Daniel Markov percentage. Look at that.
Right. Nice.
There you go.
Larry Murphy.
Oh, Larry Murphy. There you go. Another one. Fantastic. Oh, shoot. I can't remember what I was going to say. You were talking about Mark Scheifele. True. Winnipeg. Oh, about these guys making the playoffs.
Yeah.
I can't. Oh, that's what it is. Strength of schedule. So from now to the end of the year, the NHL does strength of schedule. The Maple Leafs have the easiest or best schedule based on teams they're playing for the last third of the season, which is good for us. I don't know what Washington and Winnipeg's strength of schedule is, but the Leafs have a pretty good ride based on who we're playing throughout the last third.
Well, why don't I just look that up on the old internet box here?
All right, Triple Dog area.
Remaining schedule strength.
There you go.
On tankathon.com tells us that this doesn't tell us. Talk amongst yourselves while I read this.
And while you're doing this, you know what always surprised me? I was watching that Carolina game last night, and then all of a sudden I went, what? Taylor Hall's a Hurricane? I totally forgot that he was. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. And then there's another guy, Rantanen, and I'm like, well, how's Rantanen doing with Carolina? He's doing okay, but he's not doing Rantanen like numbers. I think he's played 7 games and he's got 3 points overall. Whereas Martin Nikas is like going off the charts. He's got like 9 million points in 7 games, right?
Wow. Amazing. Wow. And initially that trade was like, what are you doing with that trade?
Right.
Well, I get it now. Buddy.
We totally understand you plucked this guy, right? Like, wow, what a steal right now it looks like, right? Is Carolina even going to sign Rantanen? Right, so now that's the thing. They said they were going to offer him $100 million was the contract, right? So now that he is a Carolina Hurricane, $100 million over 8 years is what kind of dollar figure? You know what I mean? So, or is it over 7 years?
There's no way Carolina's paying that. Carolina historically does not pay big contracts, ever.
No, I know. And I think they need to change because otherwise they're just going to be floating in the milk, not doing anything as a Cheerio would do, not going up, not going down, just staying right on the surface. They never win, right? So
like
they've got
warm
good
milk.
It could be warm milk. I was thinking cold milk, but that's fine. But yeah, so you got strength schedule?
You ready?
Do it. Yeah.
So Toronto has the best strength of schedule for the balance of the year. They have the worst opponents: San Jose twice, Chicago, Nashville, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. So lots of potential for greatness there.
Nice.
The worst case scenario. The best strength of schedule, Toronto. Next best, Ottawa. Next best, Montreal. The toughest schedule for the back half of the year is Detroit, Columbus, Rangers, Buffalo. What's happened with the Rangers, by the way? They look like absolute doggy doo-doo.
Yeah. Yep. Despite JT Miller coming in. Yeah, for sure. Not good at all.
Who's got Calgary's? So this is tankathon. So people who have the toughest schedules that you can probably tank, like tanking 4 points. Detroit, Columbus. So it looks like Columbus is going to make a tank run. Buffalo's going to make a tank run.
Columbus and Detroit are both like in playoff spots right now, if I'm not wrong. They're very, very close, right? So Boston is on the outside looking in. Buffalo needs a first overall pick, man. We gave it to Chicago. Chicago and Edmonton have had so many first round picks. It's not legal anymore to do so. But we definitely need Buffalo needs a first round pick. Someone's got to do something for the Buffalo sports fans, not Justin Hockey or whatever. These guys have got a bad rap. It's not good. Let's give them a present.
Like the California teams have had their first rounders for a few years now. So Anaheim, San Jose. It's time to move on. It's time to get back into the Northeast and get some of these teams some picks. Yeah, and you're right. Chicago's had their picks. It's time for the Detroit, Buffalo, definitely not Boston. Boston can sail away into the sea.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I agree with you. Minnesota, Minnesota's a team that hasn't had. Has Minnesota ever had a first round, like a number one?
I don't think so. Mike
Modano, maybe?
He
probably wasn't. No. I'm going to check my memory.
And my memory is right on the computer screen.
My memory is right here as I'm
looking. And while you're doing that, the Leafs play Chicago tonight in Chicago. Now, Chicago played Columbus last night.
Get the hell out of town on Mike Modano. Do you want to hear something ridiculous?
Yes, I do. I'm glad that you brought it up. Do it.
It looks Modano not drafted.
Was he undrafted?
He's a U.S. player. He was
a U.S.-born player, undrafted.
U.S.-born player. I'm not certain thrilled as that. It looks like he was an undrafted. Like a U.S. guy signed. Transfer to Dallas after Minnesota Rangers. Whatever. I'm done. I'm done with this. I don't want to read it.
Right. Done.
X took
it out. There you go. But my buddy of mine growing up, I don't know if I should say his full name. I haven't seen him or heard from him in a long, long time. One guy, should I say his name? Not Shane. No. The guy's name is Chris DeSantis. He is the only Minnesota North Star fan that I know of. And he was right from the beginning. It's back in the old Norris Division days where it was Chicago, St. Louis, Detroit, Toronto, and the Minnesota North Stars. Back with, Steve Payne and Brian Bellows, who's also from St. Catharines, by the way.
Basil McRae.
Basil McRae. You got it, buddy. All those guys there. I think, did Jim Craig play for them as a goalie? I can't remember.
Maybe.
We'll go maybe on that one. But anyway, so he was a huge, Neil Broughton. Anybody with the last name Broughton?
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, right. There was a bunch of them that played there. Dino Cicerelli, right? Played for the Minnesota North Stars, number 22. But yeah, so he was the only person that I knew that liked that team. So maybe Minnesota, let's show Minnesota some love, but they're doing pretty good this year. So they're not going to be in that, they're not going to even have the opportunity, right? So let's go Buffalo. Let's get that pick for you, buddies.
Let's do it. Let's go. And I'm not saying let's go Buffalo. I'm saying let's go with a pick for Buffalo.
Yeah.
Because they got some good stuff going on. They got to get some good young players in there, and it's good to see some good competition in the division. So yeah. Hey, we were talking about random fans of some old teams. The only Hartford Whalers fan I know is my dad. And it's because one of our family members played for Hartford. And I think the only reason I'm pretty sure he hated hockey. And he's the kind of guy, like if I was dragging my ass on the ice, he'd be the guy, like he would never yell at the coaches, the refs, or any of that kind of stuff. Or if I had a big game, I'll tell you 2 hockey stories about my dad. The first one is we're playing in a regular season game in Guelph, Ontario, and I'm probably at the time I'm probably not the starting center. I'm probably a second line center at the time, and I'm tired, and my dad's at the glass, and I've had not a great game, but it's been a bad game, and my dad's at the glass like, "Do you want to walk home?" and yelling at me over the glass. I'm like, "No!" Start skating.
Oh my gosh.
And so later in life, and I had played a bit more competitively, and I was, like it looked like, I was having more fun playing hockey because I was a bit better than some other players. And I remember having a hat trick in one of these games, and get home and I'm like, tell my girlfriend, I had a hat trick.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, the goalie was a pylon.
Thanks, Dad, for cheering me on.
Thanks, Dad.
Oh my God.
Appreciate it. But also good at bringing you like back into reality too.
Back to earth, right? Back to earth. Yeah.
Because I'm like, yeah, I scored a hat trick, and because they turned the nets around and we played posts.
That's fine. That doesn't matter. Nobody needs to know that. Nobody's going to remember that part. They
Yeah,
will
except
now,
me.
though. Yeah.
Core memory.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Speaking of core memories, it's an important day around here, and I'm going to go to the game tonight. I'm going to go see San Jose and Calgary, so I'm going to get ready to go see that game, man. And
nice, buddy.
Unless you got
it's going to be a good game. No.
I mean, a good game.
We could have gone on for another probably hour, but we kind of trimmed it, but that's okay. You know what I mean? We had a bit of a break while the NHL had a bit of a break, some of them anyways, and it was a great tournament. I'm just saying, thank goodness that Canada won, because we lost and the U.S. won. We might have became the 51st state. So thanks to Team Canada for holding us together as a country, guys. So way to go for winning it for all 40 million Canadians. Great job.
Connect with us on TikTok, YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, Apple Pods, Instagram, and all those other channels. Jay, you said it perfectly. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Hockey Huddle and hanging out with us through all the slap shots, big hits, and highlight reel plays. Whether you're a diehard fan or just getting into the game, we appreciate you being part of our hockey family. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and hit us up on social media with your thoughts, questions, or hot takes. We love hearing from you. Until next time, keep your stick on the ice, your head up, and we'll catch you in the next period. Take care, everyone.